So let's talk about the truth table for a biconditional statement. So biconditional statements have double arrows with them. And so when we're looking at the truth table for a biconditional statement, so we have two variables, which means we have 4 rows. So for the biconditional statement, you record a T if they have the same value in the truth table. Otherwise, you record a false. So if you look at this first row, they are both true, so it would be true. If you look at the next 2 rows in the truth table, they're not the same. They don't have the same truth value. They have opposite truth values, so you would record a false. Now, for the last row, they are both false, which means they're both the same. So the biconditional would be true. So this would be the truth table for a biconditional statement. Now let's talk about the phrase necessary and sufficient conditions. So if you see the phrase R is a sufficient condition for S, what that means in terms of a conditional statement, it means if R, then S. If you see R is a necessary condition, what this means in terms of a conditional statement is if not R, then not S. You can also think about this necessary condition with the negation of this. So another way to think about it is if I negate this last version, you flip them and negate them. So it becomes if S, then R. So let's practice writing these two in if-then form. So example, let's rewrite the following in if-then form. Pia's birth on U.S. soil is a sufficient condition for her to be a U.S. citizen. So let's identify what is our R. Pia's birth on U.S. soil. This is our R. Is a sufficient condition for her to be a U.S. citizen. That's our S. So remember, how do we convert sufficient condition? It's if R, then S. So we're going to say if Pia was born on U.S. soil, then she is a U.S. citizen. So that's how you would convert that to an if-then statement. Let's do one more. Let's rewrite in if-then form the following. George's attaining age 35 is a necessary condition for his being President of the U.S. So again, let's break it down. The part before necessary, George is attaining age 35, so that would be R, is a necessary condition for his being President of the U.S., that is S. So then how do we rewrite necessary? If you look back, we said necessary is if not R, then not S. So if George has not attained the age of 35, then he cannot be President of the U.S. So that's one way you could write it in if-then form. There's also another way, right? Take the contrapositive of this statement. So then it would be if S, then R. So if George can be President of the U.S., then he has attained the age of 35. So those are the two differences. There's sufficient, which means it isn't necessarily a requirement, but necessary means it is a requirement. In order to be president, the only way you can be president is if you meet the age requirement.